everyone.
There's someone who can get me an umbrella.
I can grab an umbrella.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check.
Can we move you here? Most of the cameras are kind of pointing this direction. Sorry for the... I promise the optics are good. Liz needs it.
It looks like they're freezing us out because they are.
Yeah. They get to hold their press conferences inside. Okay, a little closer, a little bit left. Right here. Your left. You're my left. You're right.
Oh, yeah, like that's that way.
And then closer. You guys are doing great. Okay. Lovely.
I've been in a wedding photo in a long time. Everybody on this side, face this way.
All right. All right, everyone ready? Liz, you good? Where's Liz? Oh, you're over there now. Okay, good. Okay. It breaks my heart to come out here every single night and tell all of you that Newton's supposed leaders, Chris Bretsky, Ruth Ann Fuller, and their school committee are preventing children from returning to school. Every single day, the negotiations team sits in there and we ask ourselves whether we can make the mayor and the school committee see reason. If only we could find the right words to say in the right order with the right tone, they would understand. But for 16 months, and especially for the 10 days of the strike, Fuller and Bretsky have shown us who they are. We have tried everything to bargain with them. We have worked on individual proposals. We've asked the school committee to stand with us against Mayor Fuller's austerity budgeting. And today we presented them with a complete package of proposals that addresses the concerns the school committee had raised during previous sessions with our previous proposals, would meet the threshold of what our membership would ratify, and would return our kids to school tomorrow. It did everything they asked. We dropped our cost of living adjustments by 4% over 4 years. We phased in our proposals over the 4-year contract. We saved them millions of dollars. And they said no. Worse, they went through our package and they accepted everything that was conciliatory, everything we were giving up. And they plastered reject on everything else. We front-loaded our 4% cost of living adjustment reduction in the first 2 years of the contract to save the school committee even more money since it compounds over the term of the contract. They responded by raising their cost of living adjustment by only 1% in the 4th year of the contract. We copy-pasted language from Superintendent Anna Nolan's previous district Natick on personal days and sick days, and they rejected it. Our mediator told us that for the school committee, a social worker in every building is a poison pill. Mental health supports are not poison pills. They are desperately needed medicine for our students. If the school committee were interested in settling this contract, why didn't they accept this proposal? If they were interested in settling this contract, why does Chris Bretsky refuse every day to invite the mayor to attend negotiations? Why does Mayor Fuller stand in there at the press conference before this and say, we are negotiating, we are committed, we, and she sits in her office and does nothing. She hides from us. She hides from her constituents. She comes up for this to say that she's working hard. She does nothing. She is not invested in getting our kids back to school. If they were interested in settling this contract, why are they using their access to virtually every household via email to mischaracterize what is happening during bargaining? Why are they posting propaganda on official NPS accounts that families rely on for vital information like district news and grab-and-go meals for children? The school committee never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. They don't. And it kills me to say that it's because Mayor Fuller and Chris Bretsky are more interested in winning than they are in bargaining. If we offered to work for $10 a day, they would reject it. They'd say they can't afford it. They'd say, we're bargaining in bad faith when we're in court, but their own lawyer testified we were bargaining in good faith. And a judge reaffirmed that. Their interest isn't in a contract. It isn't in their students. It's in winning. But all of us live in the same community. We're all tasked with caring for the same schools. And the educators of this city are doing everything we possibly can to stem the leaks, to stop this ship from going under. We just wish that Mayor Fuller, Chris Bretsky, and the school committee would stop trying to sink it. Until they do, until they start bargaining seriously, our educators will be back on the picket lines tomorrow, with our families, and with our students, and with our community members, as we continue to advocate for what our students and educators need and deserve. Because we know that all of them are behind us. We are fighting for better schools. I don't know what else to say. I'll take any questions. Yeah, I heard that. We gave them a package proposal in the morning that we felt like addressed all of their concerns. We delivered it to them. We went up, we said, we'll take any questions. We scheduled to meet with them every hour to answer any questions, clarify anything they had. They had no questions, they didn't need any clarifications. So we went back up there at 3 p.m. and we saw what they gave us, and they rejected everything. And so we got that, and we said, okay, we'll review it downstairs. And we got up and left, and we reviewed it downstairs. And we've sent them our proposal since then.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
There's something I want to say about that. Yeah.
No.
I just want to add to that. We went into the room and we said, look, we did a backward design. That's what teachers do. It's like a methodology of planning. We said, Anna Nolan has to send out information to parents about whether there will be school the next day or not by 7 p.m. If we get an agreement on a contract, after we get that agreement, we also have to negotiate a return to work agreement. So we backward designed, we said that will take at least 3 hours. So we said to ourselves, we've got to have an agreement by 3:15. There won't be any time for any bickering about this little piece here or this little piece there. So what we did when we put the package together was we said, look, we're telling you what we have to have, and we're giving you everything we can give in order to reach an agreement. And as Ryan said, we lowered our COLA proposal by 4% in the first 2 years, which means these 2 years our members who have been suffering from inflation will not get those 4%. We gave up, and we also demanded a lot, proposed a lot that are in the interest not just of us, but of our students. We proposed a social worker in every building, and we proposed a pathway from what Dr. Nolan is proposing for next year to a full social worker over the period of the contract. We tried to work within all of the boundaries, or all of the parameters that they said they needed to work with. So the main thing I want to say here is that we were trying to put something, and it needed to be agreed to then and there so that we could move forward and be ready for 7 o'clock to say, yes, we're going to have school tomorrow. That was what we worked our tails off this morning to make happen. So when they came in and were rejecting our proposals, offering us counter proposals on COLAs that were just unacceptable. It was disgraceful. It was disgraceful. We made a good faith effort to put the children back in school tomorrow morning. I had a little off the record phone conversation with Dr. Nolan in the hall saying, what are we going to do when we go back? Do we bring the kids right back, or do we have a little bit of an hour for teachers to get ready? What do we do? So I'm like, my hopes are going through the ceiling. So can you imagine how that must have felt? How deflating it must have been to have done that much work, put that much care into crafting a plan to get the kids back tomorrow, and have them come in and simply be totally and completely disrespectful and disregarding of what we were trying to do. They don't want the kids back tomorrow. That was clear. They don't care about when the kids go back. They care about getting a cheap contract from us. As Ryan says, they care about winning. The kids are their pawns, and they won't be back in school tomorrow because this school committee failed to bargain in good faith.
Are you guys going to continue to talk tonight, or is this a done
We sent them another proposal. Yes, absolutely. We are not giving up. I'm sorry I'm getting a little upset, but it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They are committed, as Ryan said, I don't even want to say to winning. They're committed to beating us, to beating up the educators of the Newton Public Schools. That is their goal, plain and simple. There was one, I won't even go into the details because it's too complicated, but we conceded something to them that they had asked for. They rejected our counter proposal that gave them what they were asking for because they have another plan in mind to punish us. It's very clear. It was punitive. There were punitive elements to this, like, you guys are going to be punished for what you're doing.
The mayor says that if your requests were met, that it would not only lead to the layoffs of dozens of teachers and be encouraged, but she also says cuts to public safety, including fire, police, essentially the
I put in an information request on January 11th to find out some information about the so-called overlay account money. I didn't get an answer. I wrote again and said, did you get this request? That was a couple days later. They wrote, somebody wrote back and said, yes, we did. We're processing it as fast as we can. Didn't get it. I got the request today after I again reached out. It was empty. They would tell us nothing about what the city's resources are, what they're providing for the schools. They gave us no information that I had requested. So when the mayor makes all these statements, where's the transparency in that when the bargaining partner can't even find out what the plan is for dispersing the funds from that overlay account to the schools and how it's going to be handled legally, how it's going to be handled in terms of what the payout cycle is? Baloney is what I say. Show me the money, tell me what you've got, and then we'll talk. But when you're telling the public, and I can't even get information about what she actually plans on allocating to the schools, I can't get it. It's my right as a union leader. It's the right of the 2,000 members of the NTA to know what her plans are financially for supporting the schools. She won't tell me. She won't tell me. Illegal. She's complaining about our strike. She is violating a fundamental right of unions to have the information they need to bargain in good faith and with the appropriate information so that they know what they're talking about when they hear something. So when I hear that, I can say to you, she won't give me the information that proves it. Where's the $30 million in surplus funds that came in this year? What about these $26 million in overlay funds? How can she say that? She knows nothing. And I will say one other thing, and I just want the numbers to ring a little bit with you. In this latest document that the school committee just gave to us, they indicate that in over 4 years, the difference between our COLA proposal and their COLA proposal was $15 million over 4 years. Cumulative. Over those same 4 years, the budget of the city of Newton will be over $2 billion. How much is $15 million relative to $2 billion? Ryan, if you know the answer to that one off the top of your head, tell me. But it can't be very much. $2 billion is how much money this city, actually that's a conservative estimate. It would be more than it. It would be more like $2.1, $2.2 billion in 4 years. And they're saying they can't afford the $15 million difference between our proposal and their proposal. Baloney. Baloney. It's misinformation. She's lying to the public. She sits in her office. Somebody knocks on the door and she calls the police. And then it's just impossible. I can't describe how outraged I am when she says $15 million in a $2 billion budget is going to force her to lay off police and fire. Baloney.
Can I add something here
Yeah.
too? Every time I watch her press conferences, it's, and I know other educators feel this way too, it's really painful. She seems to be intentionally trying to mislead the public, and she's done this consistently. She says things like, oh, I increase the school budget every year. Of course you do. It's the school budget. It goes up every year. So do the other departments. She says, oh, she emphasizes the teacher strike is illegal. Women having the right to vote, that used to be illegal. Sometimes there are unjust laws. This strike law was from 1919. It's been over 100 years. And it's just really frustrating to hear her say these things, which on their surface sound reasonable. But if you dig into any of the context, if you dig into her numbers, if you think about what she's saying, she is intentionally misleading the public, and she does it over and over again. Every night, she shows up to the Ed Center. It's the only time she walks into this building to do her press conference, and then she leaves after spouting her misinformation. And it's so detrimental to this community, because when this strike started, one of the issues we talked about was how low the morale in the buildings was because there were so many problems that we're trying to solve. Mayor Fuller going on TV and saying really misleading and detrimental things about educators and insinuating really negative things about educators, I don't know what this looks like when this is over, but she's not doing us any favors. I think about, like Mike was saying, they want to beat us. And I think about what would happen if they did. What do the Newton Public Schools look like? No mental health supports, no parental leave. That doesn't sound like a public school system that I would want to be a part of, or that I think most families would want to be a part of.
Speaking of families, I think a lot have been frustrated. They're looking at going into another week, likely without school tomorrow. And what do you have to say to parents who are trying to juggle all of this right now?
We feel so terribly that we've come this far. This should have been settled 16. That number is insane. 16 months ago was when we started negotiating. And as I had kind of reiterated during my statement, I promise, we have tried everything. We have tried so hard to work with the school committee and with the mayor. And they won't move. They won't do the bare minimum to settle this contract. They won't invite the mayor into the room. They won't, they have fought every day to avoid meeting with us face to face. I don't know what you can think about what you think good faith bargaining looks like. And I think if you were in here watching this, the school committee doesn't seem interested in negotiating in good faith. Yeah, it's really painful.
How long does the strike go on for?
This is going to continue until we can get a contract that gives our students the supports that they need. And I know, Chris Bretsky and the mayor are saying, well, why don't you let the kids go back to school while we negotiate? When we started this 16 months ago, we offered them, hey, why don't we go into a room all day, release us from teaching for that day. We'll go in all day and we'll negotiate with you. Every time we asked them, they said no. And now they want to do it. And we can't do it because if we did it, we would be sending kids back into school buildings, back into situations which are detrimental to them, which are harmful to them. We are fighting for supports for them, for mental health supports. We're fighting to have properly staffed classrooms so the kids are safe. To send the kids back and say, we'll negotiate, it's irresponsible. We can't do that to them. We can't do that.
Just add a detail about that. So one of the things that we're proposing is that there be what we call floating behavior therapists. Behavior therapists are educational support professionals that work with our most vulnerable students, often with students that are on the autism spectrum, students with emotional dysregulation, that kind of student, that it takes a very highly skilled person to work with them. So our idea of floating BTs is you've got to have someone in your program with those students who understands those children and has a skill set, so that if somebody is absent, the person that fills in has the skills to fill in and knows the children because they're part of the program. And we were in the bargaining room and we asked them. They said they couldn't accept that proposal because it cost too much and they don't want staffing levels in the contract because that's their management prerogative. So we asked them, so what do you plan on doing if you don't have a behavior therapist that can come in? What's the plan? And all they could tell us is how much our plan would cost, but they didn't know what happens when that happens. They didn't know what to do or what happens. So the teachers in the room at that point, many of them special educators, told them what happens. Told them how people are triaging and moving all the little pieces around so that they can get the best coverage they can, and how it compromises their work and all of the students who get their support moved around, and how often it leads to some pretty unsafe conditions. They explained that to them. But they didn't even know what would happen when a behavioral therapist was absent. They didn't even know. So I look at them and I say, we have a proposal on the table to deal with a really extreme safety issue, a resource problem. Our teachers do not have the resources they need to support these vulnerable students. I have been hearing about this for 13 years. People talk about how frightening it is to be responsible for kids and not feel like you have the resources to care for them, that they're unsafe under your watch. That's hard. As a professional and as a caring professional, it's really hard. And I've been hearing this for 13 years, and we put this proposal on the bargaining platform, and to hear that they don't even know what happens when a behavior therapist is absent, it hasn't even been on their horizon of a problem that we need to solve, yet I know it's one of the most severe problems in the Newton Public Schools. That's just wrong. They need to let educator voices drive policy decisions, not Mayor Fulham.
That will happen tomorrow. The judge said that they're not back in school on Friday, so there'll be another fine.
I'm not sure what will happen, but what I know happened on Friday is that judge looked at the fines he gave and said, hey, I've just enabled the school committee to continue not bargaining in good faith, continue stalling, because they were just waiting for those fines to decimate the treasury of the NTA. So I think that the judge understands that you don't use fines to coerce the union when all that ends up doing is enabling a failure to bargain in good faith on the part of the school committee. So I'm confident that this judge will be judicious about what to do tomorrow.
Can fines be covered? Are you getting donations? And
So I don't know where this is all going to end in the end, right? I mean, right now, we can cover the fines that have been assigned, and we are getting donations. And I'm hopeful that the judge will realize that a certain level of fines will simply convince the school committee to continue stalling. That's our hope, that the judge recognizes that that's not the answer. Now, if the judge does decide to continue to increase the fines, we will prevail. We will continue to be able to find the sources from. We're getting donations from all over the country, frankly. The labor movement believes in what we're doing here in Newton. Everywhere, people know how important what we're doing here in Newton is. That's not my concern about the fines. My concern is, once again, they will feel enabled in their unwillingness to bargain. That's my greatest fear. Not the money loss, but the change, the entrenchment of the school committee, because they falsely believe that those fines will defeat us. They will not defeat us.
Mike, you said your Kretsky said that your midday proposal was characterized as take it or leave it. You expressed it that way.
So that's an interesting, I think I explained that earlier, or you explained it earlier. It was not a take it or leave it. It was, we've got to get this done by 7 o'clock, by 3:30. If we're going to make the announcement at 7 that the kids got to come back, this is a proposal that is a package. It's on the table for now. But it's like our best effort. It's like poker players showing you their hand, what they've got down. We showed him our hand. We said, this is the best we can do.
Are you willing to discuss and adjust this new proposal that you just given?
It changes. Well, they clearly. I mean, it changes a couple things. So they clearly rejected. Every time we've tried to get a change in longevity so that it's more equitable across units, they've rejected that, and we've reduced the cost of it to the least amount possible, and they still rejected it. So we said, okay, we'll take that off the table, and we put a cost of living adjustment into the later years of the Unit C proposal, which was worth less in value, so it saves the district some money, and we're looking to see, is that more of a priority for them to spend their money there? I don't know. We add a couple of other changes, like Dr. Nolan has been saying she wants to reduce the size of classes in the high school. Well, yeah, you can tell me that, but we want a contractual guarantee that that's not going to change 3 years from now, when it's not in the city's spotlight, that the class size, because Ryan stood in front of the school committee and talked about how huge those class sizes were, and now it's a big issue, right? We've made it an issue. We want it in the contract. We don't just want Dr. Nolan to say, yeah, we'll change the class sizes. So we crafted those changes to the time and learning agreement to have caps on class sizes with some enforcement mechanisms, but we did it in a way that's shaped around what she herself has claimed she wants to do. If she really wants to do it, put it in the contract. We're in agreement with you. If you're in agreement with us, don't just say it, promise it. Promise it in writing. You have
One more thing. Just one last thing, just to address. I've been noticing that Mayor Fuller has been referring to us a lot in her press conferences as union leadership, union leadership, union leadership. And what I would like to emphasize is I am a math and physics teacher. I am not a shadowy union leader. The people standing behind me are the educators who work with your children every day. The people out on the streets, marching, rallying, fighting for better schools. This is not NTA union leadership. I don't know what that means. Our union is all of us, and we are all united, and we demonstrated that with a 98% vote to take this last resort measure that none of us wanted to take in the first place. And we took it because things were so bad, and the school committee was so unwilling that we had no other choice than to do this. And now we're doing what Newton's leaders have failed to do. We're standing up for the people of this city. We're listening to the people of this city, to the students of this city, and we're saying enough is enough. We're saying that we need better schools. We need better working conditions. We need better learning conditions for our students. And so, again, it's just another case where I think Fuller is not just trying to mislead, but she's trying to divide. She's trying to divide. And what we're doing is bringing people together around this common cause of doing what is best for our students and for our schools. Thanks. We are going to be going back in after this. We'll stay as late as the school committee wants to stay.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody.